So yeah, I'm Michael. I'm the owner of Headstrong S&C. So I specialise in strength and conditioning for combat athletes. So MMA, grappling, boxers, Thai boxers.
All right, gentlemen, we've been over the rules. Protect yourself at all times.
On the fence. I'm on the fence.
We don't need to talk about that.
We went left hook from Yaoundé came and landed on him, you know, so.
We've got a bit of aerobic testing on there. So it's only 4 minutes. That's the aim. And then you're done. So get to see kind of where we're at as well, without going the full testing day and everything. So a little bit of a test, especially the kind of the area we were working at most of the camp. I want to see how much that's dropped off, if it has dropped off or if it's not.
It will have. How much a row after doing that?
Yeah, that's.
He's mean, isn't he?
Right, yeah, Michael, thanks again for letting me come down and have a look at what goes on behind the scenes.
Yep.
Obviously, I've heard a lot of stuff from a lot of the athletes that you coach, so it's definitely an honour. Really good, really insightful in terms of the different exercises that you do to cater for your athletes' needs, basically.
Load, jump, load, load that hip. So do like one face in the mat, well, actually, just whichever way you face, just come back that way. Load there, and load on this, and so like just load it up inside that, so load, jump, load. Alright. Load, jump,
And you were saying before with Susie in terms of the knowledge of the sport that the different athletes are competing at. So you do a lot of grappling as well yourself, and do you train yourself?
So it is something I actually only took up since we opened the gym. So coming up to 3 years, 2.5 years ago, I did grappling because I had no excuse. Ben, the grappling coach who's not here today, Ben has been trying to get me down for years, and I did try a little bit before COVID. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I had no excuse not to do it since I'm in the same gym as them.
Yeah.
So I've been grappling, I've competed in grappling and stuff like that now. So that's kind of my path in terms of my main training's that. And then I do my own weights.
Okay.
Before that, years and years ago, I did Thai boxing. So I did Muay Thai, literally just up the road from me as well.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I got to know Ben and stuff like that. And then, but I would have been, it's probably about a decade ago now, is that.
Okay.
And I kind of just more fell in love with the training to get fit, rather than the actual training of it, and I think that's what opened like the doors to wanting to do S&C, rather than wanting to pursue a career in that.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's only recently that I've re-added kind of some combat sport back into my own training with the jiu-jitsu. You'll feel probably more on that front leg instead of shapes and drive. Actually, it's about 60-40.
How long? It's a bit wide.
Line side of the ball. Kind of keep maybe not as strong as you can, the right hand to look maybe. Yeah, I think that's
It'll be cut.
easy. 2. So, 3. Yeah, calm side. 4. 5. Nice. But the only thing that's going to get you is the volley of the ritual.
Okay. So is that where it all started then, or take me back? Was it just your interest that in the different sort of training that piqued it, or did you study? Was that the first protocol, or?
I'd say it probably all started at school, to be fair. So we did a sports science unit.
Okay.
And I really liked that unit. And then I was kind of, in that unit, we had to go to the gym. So this would have been GCSE, no, A-level. So this would have been like A-level, so I'd been 16, 17. And that kind of piqued the interest of it.
Okay.
And then I realised I liked to train and I wanted to understand more about the sports science stuff. So then once I finished sixth form, I went to college and did like your normal kind of route there. I got into fitness instructor, personal trainer. I got really lucky that my tutor at the time was a strength and conditioning coach himself. So he didn't give us general population clients.
Yeah.
He gave us the basketball team. So we worked with the basketball team, and that's when it was like, right, I don't want to work with general pop. It's not what I want to do. I just want to work with athletes. And I was still training Thai box at the time, and Ben were on the same courses. So that kind of opened the door to combat athletes.
Okay.
And then from there, I just kind of got the job in a gym, did all my S&C quals on the side while I was still just trying to work and get a bit of money. So I did my S&C quals, did my degree on the side as well while I worked. So I didn't actually go to uni like an 18-year-old and leave and go to uni. I kind of went straight into the industry at 18 and then just funded my own kind of like progression through there. So every year I just do another qual. So I did that until I got my last S&C qual, then did my degree and stuff like that. And then kind of got back in touch with Ben, and he was saying, oh, we should open some up, we should get back coach. So I just slowly picked up coaching more and more athletes.
Yeah.
Then COVID happened, so then weirdly coaching out my garage at that point.
Nice.
Because some of these guys still had fights. One, control down, drive, 1. 2. 3, perfect, a little bit slow on that way down. There we are. 4, 1 more. 5, perfect.
Weird when you try and do it fast on that one, you feel like it might rotate.
Yeah, it's a lot more stability with this bar. I do like this bar though. Kind of saves your shoulders a bit as well. You know, I like in like such an aggressive internally rotated position. So this session today, we're looking at pure kind of like general preparation phase. So we just finished the camp, more looking at just building all markers, bit of strength markers. So I looked at the lower body strength work, a bit of upper body strength here, and just kind of progressing on elements that we were working on before. But today is kind of just get a decent amount of volume without overdoing it for Adam with his not training for 3 weeks, 3 and a bit weeks. So kind of just carrying on some of the movements, but just building baseline strength up pretty much. With us not having anything in the pipe work at the minute, kind of want to build like your strength qualities, and the conditioning work we're doing later is more aerobic based, so we can build like the aerobic qualities as well. And then accessory wise after this is going to be higher volume. Trying to build a bit of muscle, build a bit of strength endurance, but again, nothing too crazy in terms of like power. Just kind of tailor it back a little bit. Right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 1. Go on, you've got it. Control. 2, that's better. 3, a tiny bit lower. 4, 1 more. 5, perfect. There's still professional athletes, they still had fights to do.
Yeah.
And then over COVID, myself, Calabu's on the mat over there, and Ben were like, let's try to open a gym and try and go for it. And then like I said, this is our second location now. First location, a lot smaller, that was quite successful, and then just expanding from there.
Come on, I like to see it. And I think a lot of businesses did struggle during COVID and whatnot, so it's good to see that you were still able to maintain, you know, your base and expand to where we are now.
I mean, it wasn't the easiest time, but like luckily there were no outgoings because it was in my own garage. I was still getting paid from being a lecturer. So outside this, I'm a lecturer as well, so I was still getting paid. So I was in a very privileged position. I'm not going to say I wasn't. And then, like I said, COVID potentially did kind of help us build a bit of a name, but it had its own difficulties. We had multiple police round at the house, which wasn't good. So they came round and tried to shut us down, but they were the exemption. We weren't being like sly and doing something that we shouldn't do. We were the exemption. Certain athletes couldn't train even though they were pro because the exemption kind of only covered certain organisations, which were a bit of a weird one to say that both still pro athletes. So annoyingly, it were only the guys who were fully on exclusive contracts with people like Cage Warriors and stuff like that I could work with, and not all of them. So, and then you kind of have to keep them in the bubbles, which luckily, like the Mullins, their brothers, they lived with each other, so they could come and train together and stuff like that. So it was a bit of it were testing times, but it's kind of built what we got now. Yeah. That's kind of what sparked everything really. Well, was COVID, which is a bit of a weird one. Strength and conditioning can be a little bit boring sometimes because you are just focusing on the stuff that works. I'm looking at basically making Adam a better athlete, if that's like more robust, stronger, fitter, faster. But a lot of times it's not all these fancy like Instagram exercises you see, a lot of times it's just setting like the foundation work, so your heavy squats, your heavy bench, stuff like that to build up the qualities that you need. And then 1% of it might be all these fancy Instagram workouts that you see, but a lot of the time it's just more your overall strength work, your overall kind of stuff that's tried and tested and works. I think a lot of people try to go a bit too fancy and stuff and it end up not actually working. So, pull-ups, rows, they're the 2 exercises. Look at your upper back, and then we're going to be looking at some rowing machine in terms of your aerobic work. See what you feel like. It was going to be rower or skier. So originally I did plan ski, but I thought that might be too much kind of aggressive force going through. But see what you... I know you don't like rower as well, so kind of also another reason why I wanted to do it.
Fair play. And you did mention that obviously outside of here that you still do lecturing on the side as well.
Yeah.
How do you believe that benefits your day-to-day and benefits your clients as well?
Yeah, so outside of this, I'm only part-time, but I am a lecturer still in sport and fitness. I basically teach sport and fitness on a day-to-day basis.
Nice.
And anybody who's wanting to be like an aspiring personal trainer, I'll be like kind of working with them, or aspiring coach. Mm-hmm. I'd say mainly it keeps you relevant, it keeps you in the field that you're in. Yeah. So kind of like we touched on before, I'm not just, even though I come from the industry and got here, I didn't just work and then stick in my own ways. You're always having to study, you always have to do your most relative like research. So what's kind of the recent trends, what are the studies saying now than what they didn't before. So it kind of keeps in the loop there. So I feel like the fitness industry is a weird one. It's probably the most backwards industry. It is really, they try to keep relevant, but then they'll still use old 80s style bodybuilding approach, which is just not what these guys need. These guys need the most current stuff that's going to work with them. Yeah. So it does keep you in the loop with that, and you're constantly getting put on your toes by other students as well, because they're wanting to know, they're wanting to ask questions or understand elements, and you have to be able to then explain that to them and make sure you're giving them the right information. Side of the rows as well. So we're going to try and get as much work in the upper back with it, like as little volume as I can. So here, all I want is nice to control full range of motion on the reps. So going up, going down. So we're not rushing it, just taking your lat through full range of motion. And then here, post out, abs engaged, and you're going to be pulling light to your hip. So don't think straight up and down, kind of drive the elbow back. So if you can see it from here, kind of drive back. So it's nice and light. Failure, I don't want to go over 20. So if you do go over 20, we'll go heavier next set.
How many sets?
3. Minute rest in between. So there's going to be quite a lot of like lactate build up as well. Just loads of like muscular endurance work.
Ran out of baking soda.
Yeah. So knuckles facing out, chin over the bar.
Have I got a target on this?
No, it's to failure. I'd like mid to high teens though.
You're joking at you?
If
Do
you can.
do that many pull-ups?
But over 10. We'll go over 10.
I mean, even that, like, we'll put a bit of weight on. Tell me when.
Yeah, let's go, man. Perfect. Back nice, flat drive. Each arm, yeah. So like I say, if we do get over 20, we'll go locking tight, core engaged. Like
it says like it's 20 kilo.
Yeah. I like to take that leg back, give you a bit of room here, and then roll from that. There we go. Yeah, 100%. Perfect. Control that core, don't let your body rotate through, so everything stays nice and tight there. So like I say, I was looking at my tutor, an awesome tutor, and he worked for years. So he basically fueled me wanting to be an S&C coach by him having so much knowledge. Okay. So I kind of hope that I can do that with the younger generation, kind of help them a little bit.
Nice.
Some of them might not want to go down S&C, but at least if I can put that across to them, it should help.
Decent. And I've seen that you've got an app as well.
Yes, yeah.
Is that to help the clients that you've already got, or is that like a side business that you can still do one-to-one coaching remotely and things?
A bit of both. So it originally started with the clients that I've already got, giving them stuff to do away from me. Mm-hmm. I used to kind of just do like a PDF and follow it, but there was no real tracking it other than speaking to the client all the time. So now I've got it on the app. That's weirdly transformed to athletes that don't like live within, like, let's say the Yorkshire area. They're now on the app. So I've got guys in Thailand, I've got a fight in Kuwait, some guys in America, and then probably like Manchester's a little bit of a hub at the minute of a lot of guys on it. So it's weirdly transformed into another kind of business around this as well. So it's opened up quite well, to be fair.
Yeah.
Of combat athletes do, they're lacking like upper back work. Loads of people, either the upper back isn't strong enough, and that's where they get like your shoulder injuries from. Just because your combat sports in general are very much like anterior work, there's a lot of pushing. This muscle gets really tight here, your back gets like underused. So for Adam, just building upper back work. A lot of the guys, upper back, upper trap, thicker neck, it'll translate over quite well. How about that? Feel it? Or?
Yeah, it's hard.
Without just doing a full testing day. So normally for fight camps, I'll do like a full barrage of testing, see what exactly we need to work on, what weak spots we're at. We've had he's only had a little bit of time off, so I'll do a little bit, kind of like with the pull-ups there and everything, see what fails first. So we've kind of identified a bit of grip. We've had his right side a little bit stronger, so that'll probably be something we'll be working on for the next couple of weeks. They say with the skier now, just looking at his overall scores, because we did very much like a lactate kind of retention work, a lot of lactate buffing last time. 4 minutes, kind of we're going to be able to have a good read to see where he's at. Yeah. Luckily, we've had he don't really put massive weight on outside of camp. He's always training, so I don't think there's going to be much of a drop. Some of the other guys might not disappear for like a month at a time after a fight.
And again, in terms of mixed martial arts, that's what I know basically. That's my specialism really. You've got a lot of really good fighters. Obviously, you've got the Mullin brothers. You've got Adam Bramhald that was here before. Joe's fighting today.
Yeah.
Sahota brothers, Mark DeCasey as well.
Yeah.
What is it that you think that the MMA fighters benefit the most out of you, and what's your client base in terms of how they weigh it up? Do you have more MMA combat athletes, or do you have more grappling athletes, or is it a mix and plethora?
I'd probably say I'm a 50-50 at the minute. I probably started off a lot more MMA focused athletes, but there is quite a lot of grapplers coming through now, and I think they're realising the importance of S&C. But I'd probably say it's 50-50. I've got more pros than I do amateurs at the minute though, so I think most of the guys who are coming are pros. I think that's more down to the needs and demands of what they need out of it, rather than more of a training as the start of the career. These guys are well adverse and well into the career. They know that they need it to make sure they're on top of it. Yeah. And what were the other one you asking about?
No, you've answered both of them really, yeah.
But overall, I'm happy with that. Very good score there, to be fair.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like I was trying that hard.
Yeah. No, without dropping too much. And it's not really a movement we did a lot of. I know you got it on your programme elsewhere, didn't you? But
yeah, I didn't do it. That was on the optional Sunday one.
Yeah, that was your 20 minutes work, wasn't it? But no, I smashed it on. So yeah, we'll look at, obviously each week is kind of building them qualities and just going from there. And as soon as we get out any news, then really kind of switch it up.
Seem to think we're aiming for that day, which is 8 weeks. So that's a nice round block, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of change it up at any point as well, which is quite good. First 4 weeks are always going to be very like generalised approach to kind of building your strength levels up anyway. Might just have a change of exercise selection, but other than that, we can kind of work with that. But yeah,
cool.
Spot on. If here, kind of rotating through without putting too much pressure on the like where they've worked. So I don't want you to go, but belly button over knee, sit forward, or sit really tall, kind of hinging. So try to keep your spine neutral, so don't just fully collapse underneath. Try to keep your spine nice. And then what I like to do is work around, so I might rotate past my knee, or I might come in towards my toes, kind of work different areas. And then we can look at this leg, keeping that there, either opening up. I like to go about 5 reps and then internally rotating, so bring your heel up.
You've got well good internal rotation, you.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's more. I don't stretch, so I think it's obviously I stretch.
Like that's max I can do on that side.
And the better we get that, the better your head kicks will be, because you'll be able to internally rotate and kick it in.
Well, it was nice, that lamb though.
Is it?
That lamb was nice.
Yeah.
You can tell it was grass fed though, because it was fatty.
Oh yeah.
Susie, where are the championships being held?
They're in Rome, in Italy.
In Rome, okay.
Yeah, so it's great because you get like a little holiday afterwards as well. well. So normally I'm dropping a little bit of weight.
Okay.
For jiu-jitsu competitions, the weigh-in is the same day. You pretty much weigh in and then you step on the mat. So
Okay.
you can't really do like a water cut.
Yeah.
So I have to like manage my weight in like the lead up to the competition.
I see.
So I'm like, I've only got like a couple of kg to lose.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of weeks to do it, which is like more than a small time.
Okay.
But what it does mean is obviously I'm dieting a little bit on the leader, and then after I've got pizza and pasta, and just enjoy myself then.
Okay. Cheers, thank you.
So a good amount of speed to it. It looked easy last set. Let's go. Easy. 1, 2. Perfect. That's it. Yeah, big jumps. 1 and 2. 3, 4. Spot on. How'd that feel? Easy? Maybe it looked easy.
How much of a change in routines is it when you get closer to a competition than further out?
So the ownership comes more on their actual training. Obviously, my aim is to get them better at the sports. If I like, right, I need doing every day, they're not actually going to get the time on the mat to get better. So I now have to take that into account. They're going to be doing a lot more sparring, a lot more harder rounds, probably depleted since they're losing weight. So my stuff, the volume drops, the ownership kind of comes more on getting them through the session, make sure they're healthy, but make sure they can get back on the mat and not absolutely wrote off. I think a lot of the times people put, I don't want to downplay the S&C, but put too much importance on it. Okay. Like, I'm not the head coach. I don't need to be absolutely battering Susie that she can't then get on the mat, because it's kind of counterproductive. They're not getting better. I think people try to act more important than they are. So like I say, I'm more just making sure they're strong and healthy for the mat and this close out to competition. Yeah. And then we're looking at like absolute strength, power development, that kind of stuff. Out of comp, that's where I can play a bit more of a role at really kind of beating them a little bit and really getting like a generalised approach of getting all the markers up. Yeah. And because they're not probably doing as many sessions, or they won't be going as intense to the sessions, I don't mind if they wake up a little bit sore. Whereas like this close, I kind of want you waking up and going fresh, because she's got a session straight after this in Hull as well. So we're keeping the volume relatively low, because she's going to have a drive over there, and then it's comp round, so it's going to be pretty much comp intensity. So we're only doing 5 sets of 2 here. We're looking at some upper body movements. The conditioning's going to be scaled back a little bit at this point, so it's more just going by what the athlete needs at that point. Let's go. 1, easy. 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, you're on 10 now. You get one more, you beat Adams. Perfect.
As soon as you said that, I'm like,
Right, so 12, at least one near at the 8 mark here. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Just kind of beat Adam's deadlift, and now he's pull-ups.
I'll do some creative editing.
No, what we're looking at is like more of like a biomechanical drop set. So not necessarily like just dropping weight or like reps. We go from technically a harder movement with the grip trainers and like pulling, it's then more of like a biomechanical, easier movement with like the close grip. Yeah. So we're just kind of taking Susie up to as close as we can, give her a little rest, and go back into another movement. So just a different way of working around stuff. And then like a nice on rest.
How much rest in between?
We're going to go 90 seconds here. So building up, we were doing very short rests. So we kind of had to like get used to producing force with a little bit of rest and reproduce it. So there's that repeatability to it. Yeah. Again, like I was saying, with the stuff that she's got on today, I kind of more want to just a nice recovered element and then going. So we're not just going back to back and back, and then she has to go do an hour and a half of rounds. Yeah. So a bit more quality over quantity today. So we don't always want just movement work. We want to be able to stabilise and not move in positions. So especially, I'd say in MMA it's just as important as well, but especially in grappling, you try to manipulate someone's body. So you try to turn them. One of the easiest ways to do that is either collapse Susie's core or kind of like turn her into position. So if she's got a very stable core, she can maintain strength there. Hopefully that's not going to happen as easy, or hopefully you'll be able to defend it. That's kind of the aim we're looking at here. Again, I think a common mistake is people just work on loads of ab work on the core. That's just one element of it, where we're working on the muscle underneath, like the transverse abdominis, and then the whole core itself. I don't need to do loads of sit-ups with this, because they'll end up doing it in the day-to-day training anyway. So if I was doing loads of sit-ups with Susie or loads of sit-ups with Adam like before, you're just doubling up on the same training. So I wouldn't need to do stuff that they're not doing on the mat. That's kind of where I think having that knowledge in the sport helps. So knowing what they'll be doing and what I need to do to make sure they've filled all the gaps that they need to fill in, pretty much.
I see.
2 sets? 2 sets, and that'll give you enough time to have a bit of a chill and then set off. You ready? Let's go. 1. We'll repeat that one. Let's go. 1. There we are. 2. Arms a little bit there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Easy. Right, so next week's peak week. Next week we're really going to be going heavy on stuff, and then the week after that it's more about speed and then a bit of a taper after that. But next week we really want to get the PB.
Yeah, both of them are really good. And in terms of like a message that you've got for maybe the younger athletes, maybe amateurs as well that are coming up, in terms of what they should focus on in terms of strength and conditioning, and how important you believe that is to their development as well.
Yeah. I'd say focus points is don't overdo it.
Okay.
Like I said, I think that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people overdo the training, or kind of like I touched on before when I was coaching Susie, there's an emphasis on that strength and conditioning is more important than it is. And there's a lot of S&C coaches try to portray that as more important. I'm probably going to put myself out of business here, but I'm looking at getting you better as an athlete on the mat. So my job is not to absolutely beast you here. It's to make sure you're stronger, fitter, faster. But the most important job as an S&C coach is, does the athlete move well and are they healthy? So for any young people or like aspiring athletes that are wanting to do it, keep it basic. Stick to the basic stuff. So don't go too heavy on elements that you're not comfortable with.
Okay.
And make sure your volume's low. You don't want to be waking up battered every day. You can only train as good as you recover. So if your recovery is completely dog shit, you're not going to be able to really train that hard. So kind of keep it basic, keep it movement based. I'd probably say that's the best thing. You want to look at movement qualities and probably build your aerobic qualities. A lot of people try and run before they can walk. So they'll come out here, they'll be doing 10 sets of hill sprints and doing loads of jumps and like loads of really hard intensity work. Whereas the overall aerobic level is quite low and they can't even squat the body weight. So it's like, don't start jumping before you've got a good strength base, I'd say. Don't start doing sprinting if you're not able to do one round without gassing. Build your qualities first, build like a nice foundation and then move on to stuff. But main thing is to stay healthy, stay fresh. You've got to get better as an athlete by spending more time on the mat. So if you're making your debut, you probably don't need to be doing hours and hours of S&C. You probably need to be working on being a better athlete. And that can be down to movement, stretching, recovery, and then all your stuff you'll be on there. And keep this down to, they're probably faces behind the camera. Keep this down to your normal compounds.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people try to go too advanced first. Quite a loaded answer.
No, that's what I want to hear. And just to end, really, just plug yourself, really. Where can people find you? Where can people reach out to you?
So I'd say best thing to reach out to me is on Instagram. I'm not the best with social media, so I can just keep it to one platform because I know if I got loads, I wouldn't use them. So best thing, social media through Instagram, and just kind of messages on there. I will get back to you as soon as possible. We are based in Bradford. So obviously the S&C area is here, and then obviously the grappling and the MMA is here as well. So we are based in Bradford, so you can get in touch with us by either coming to Bradford or just dropping a message on the Instagram page.
Brilliant. I appreciate your time today, mate.
Thank you.
Take care.